We're in Algebra 2 with 7.9a, and this is equality for complex numbers. So the videos for Chapter 7 are piling up. We have 24 previous videos now, and we have 6 previous videos talking about imaginary numbers I. If you haven't seen those, or if you get lost during this video, you can go to the description and click on the ones you've missed. Equality for complex numbers is the same as equality for real numbers. A sentence a plus bi equals c plus di tells us that one side of the equation represents the same thing as the other side. And for this to be true, a and c must be the same, and b and d must be the same. So a plus bi equals c plus di means when a equals c and b equals d. And this concept will help us solve equations involving complex numbers. So we can solve for x and y. 3x plus yi equals 5x plus 1 plus 2i. We equate the real parts, and we get 3x equals 5x plus 1. So we're going to do this one and this part. We can isolate x by subtracting 5x from each side, or you could say we're adding a negative 5x to each side. That's going to create a negative 2x on this side and a 0 pair here of additive inverse, so that's gone, it's eliminated. So all we have is negative 2x equals 1. Now we can divide each side of the equation by this negative 2 coefficient, and we get x equals a negative half. So now we know what x is. Let's find y. We equate the imaginary parts. We have yi equals 2i. Well, you can just see with your eyes that that means y equals 2. Can't you? See? We can check our answer with substitution. We're going to put in a negative half for x in the equation and a 2 for y. And on the left side, we get 3 times a negative half is negative 3 halves plus 2i. That's our left side. On the right side, we have 5 times negative half. That's negative 5 halves. We need to add 1 plus 2i. We can add the 1 as 2 halves. And we get negative 5 halves plus 2 halves is a negative 3 halves. And yeah, it's the same. So it checked out. Let's take a look at this one. Now we've got parentheses in the problem. We can solve for x and y. We've got 3x plus 1 plus y plus 2 times I equals 2x plus 2yi. We equate the real parts, 3x plus 1 and 2x. We need to isolate x so we can add a negative x to each side of the equation. And we're going to drop down our 1, and here we have 2x minus 3x. That gives us a negative 1x. Now, to isolate the x, we can divide each side of the equation by that negative 1, and we get a 1x here, a positive 1x here, because the numerator and denominator are the same. And on this side, we get a negative 1. So now we know that x equals negative 1. Now we equate the imaginary parts. We've got y plus 2 times I equals 2yi. We distribute the I, and we have yi plus 2i equals 2yi. We isolate the y by adding a negative yi to each side of the equation, and we drop down our 2i here, and 2yi minus 1yi, because there's an invisible 1 here, isn't there? See? It's just not usually written. That would give us a 1yi, and we can divide both sides of the equation by 1i, and that tells us 2 equals y. See? We can check it by plugging in, substituting negative 1 for x and 2 for y into our equation. We get 3 times negative 1, which is a negative 3 plus 1, plus 4, 2 plus 2, I. That gives us a negative 2 plus 4i. On this side, we got 2 times negative 1, which is a negative 2, plus 2 times 2 is 4i. And yeah, both sides are the same. So we used additive inverses in the properties of equality to isolate the variables and solve the equations, just like we always do. Okay? All right, so now our next video is 7.9b, and we're going to multiply complex numbers. I'm going to add this video to the Algebra 2 playlist. And you can click on that in this video's description if you've missed any. Chapter 11 from Algebra 1 last year talks about radical expressions and equations if you want to review on that. And, like I said in the beginning of the video, there's 6 previous videos for I, for the imaginary number I. And remember, if you skip steps, you could still climb the ladder. It's just going to be harder, okay? Don't forget I'm on patreon.com if you want to help me out each month. Don't forget to hit the like button if I've helped you. And it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. The more likes my videos have, the higher up my videos come on the list when you search. Okay? I'll see you next video. Keep trying. Bye.